Hi, everyone, and welcome to the podcast Fly with Mel. I use this podcast to talk about all the personal development that we can get by living far from home. I tell some stories, but most of the time, I invite people that I meet along the way to share their own. This podcast is an open door to the world because I truly believe that everyone you meet has something to teach you. So I invite you to take a seat and enjoy the flight. Hello, everyone. Today I am with Bill. Hi, Bill.
Hi Mel, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm going really well. I'm coming from the beautiful and wet Darwin today.
Right, you're in Darwin, in the Northern Territories of Australia, while I'm in Sydney talking to
Yeah.
you. I met Bill during a humanitarian experience, right, in the Northern Territories,
Yes.
on a very remote island.
On a very remote island up in the Wessel Island group, which is probably one of the remote parts of the Northern Territory where they're having a humanitarian experience and contributing to the local people there. So it was a pretty amazing trip, and I really enjoyed your company, Mel.
Likewise, Bill, definitely. And because it was a remote location, we didn't have much our phones with us, and this allowed us to connect on a deeper level. And it's funny how sometimes when you meet people, complete strangers, and you have the time to meet them, the conversation can go very, very far. And that's what happened. You inspired me so much about your mindset, your way of life, and you just reminded me to be in the present moment
Yeah.
and to realize what truly matters in life. So I wanted to have you on the podcast for that. So thank you again, Bill.
No worries. I'm glad to be here, and I hope I can share some wisdom. If not wisdom, then some advice. Yeah.
Definitely. So, Bill, there is a tradition I do on the podcast, usually with all my guests. It's just for the audience to understand a bit more who you are. I ask people to give me 3 words that define them. So, can you give me 3 words that define you?
A father, a friend, and a husband. I think they're 3 words that probably define me. A father, which is one of the greatest achievements of my life.
Mhm.
A friend is that part of your life where you value friendship, and if you can count on one hand, that many friends on one hand, then you're truly blessed. And
Yeah,
a husband, and I enjoy my life as a husband.
that's so beautiful, Bill. I wish you all the best for the 3 different roles that you just said just now. That's beautiful. And I know that you said you have a lot of grandkids, right?
I do. I've got six grandchildren, and three through marriage and three through our family bloodline, and I love them all. And it's one of the
Oh,
special things that I get to do, and that's why I moved to Darwin, is to be closer to my grandkids because I want to have a relationship with them and not wait till they're, later in life and it's mandatory that you got to go and see, Pop or something like that. So I want to make sure I'm there in their lives, so that I can be a part of it.
that's so beautiful. So I guess you value a lot family, right?
Family is probably one of the most important things that you can have in life. And as you can't select your family; they come with you. So you have to make the most of it, because friends come and go, but family is always there.
Was it always something very important for you?
Family's always been important for me, especially my immediate family. So, I guess I have to take a lot of my inspiration from my mum. And it was my mum because my dad. It was those days. My dad was always busy, so he's never home. He's always work, and he'd come home late and left early. So we never got to see dad much. So
Mm.
my mum was the one who taught me how to shoot, how to fish, how to hunt, how to cook, all those things. So my mum taught me that. So for all those women out there who think that that men should do all these traditional things, no, they don't. My mum taught me all those things, and she's probably the greatest inspiration to me. Even though my dad was very important to me and he was a very good friend to me later in life. When I got to see him more, he was probably my best friend, and
Mm.
he was a person that you could trust anything with, and that's what I am to my kids now. So I learned that from my dad, and I learned that from my mum, and yeah, so family is really important.
It is. For me, family is also very, very important, even though I have chosen to live on the other side of the world, but it doesn't mean that we are, really far. We are always very, very close thanks to technology today, like we can still be close. And I feel like we are even closer now, because when I go to France to see them, so I'm from France,
Yes.
and most of my family is living in France, and whenever I go there for a trip, it's like 2 weeks trip, because now I decided to live in Sydney.
Yeah.
And every time the moments are so precious, because we all know that it's going to be short in time, so we want to make the best out of it. So yeah, I love what you're saying about family. It's really important. We cannot always decide to live close to them, or I don't know.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
But you can always find a way to
That's right.
be
Like,
close.
and there was many times in your life where you'll be close and then far then close, but you just take advantage of that and you use whatever you have at your hands, like technology, to keep that connection. Because when I lived far from my grandchildren, I always connected on, on video or Zoom and stuff like that. So yeah, technology is so amazing these days. We used to have to wait for a parcel on a letter, which was just as good, and that benefit of delayed gratification is really good as well.
Definitely.
Waiting for that letter or that parcel from your family. Yeah.
Well, to be honest, I'm glad that we don't have the letters anymore. But
Yes.
yeah, I remember that we had this conversation together on the island, and I told you that I was scared to have one day some regrets about living far from my family and my beloved ones.
Yes.
And I remember you were really calm with me, and you were really telling me you just have to enjoy your destiny right now. You enjoy
Yeah.
what you have now, and the future will wait. You will see.
That's right. You've got to live in the moment, right here and now, because that's what it is, and it's called the present for a reason, and we're always giving gifts and a present. Well, that's what the present is. It is a gift. So enjoy it and live for now. Don't live for tomorrow or regrets for yesterday. It's a wasted energy. Put all your energy into living in the now. People say that you only live once. That's not true. You die once and you live every day. So live every day that you enjoy it and live in the moment. Yeah. And of course you always plan for the future, and set goals. It's always great to set goals. I mean, I've always set goals in my life, and I've always said, okay, in 5 years' time, I want to be this or do this. And you might get close to it, and then you might just need to reevaluate your goals. But that's the great thing, right? They're your goals, they're nobody else's. So you set your own goals, and if you've got to reevaluate and reset them, that's okay too. So yeah.
Yeah. We all have a different path in our lives, and we talk more and more about having a mission or a purpose in life, so that if you find kind of a meaning in your life, it's then kind of get easier for you.
Yeah.
Do you have a mission?
My mission is to be the best person I can be, right? And that's very open to interpretation. But for me, it's being about a person that's valued, trusted, respected. All those things is what makes me the best person I can be. And so I'm in a senior leadership role, as you know, and so for me, I like to inspire people, and when you inspire people, they do well, and I always say that when people do well, they make me look good. So why wouldn't you always inspire people to be the best they can be? So and that's what I like to do in a leadership role, is to make sure that people are inspired to be the best they can be. And if somebody comes and says to me, "Oh yeah, I have this problem," and I always say, first question, has anybody died, or they are likely to die? No. Well, then it's not a problem. We can fix it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what you've got to think. So sometimes you can make a mountain out of a molehill for no reason, because there's so many things coming into your life that you can't let go, and it just comes in and just creates a whole pile of dung, if you like, that doesn't need to be in your life. So yeah, unless somebody's gonna be in serious trouble and their life is in jeopardy, then you have a problem. But if not, just go with it and fix it, iterate, and move on.
That's beautifully said, Bill, about your mission and your duty to do well in this world and to do the best that you can with what you have. I love that. Did you always have this mindset, or is it something that you built over years, or during specific experiences that you had in your life?
So Mel, I think it comes with my growing up and growing up in an environment in remote and outback Australia where you had to you didn't have everything at your disposal, so you had to make do. So if something failed, then you fixed it. You couldn't ring the plumber, you couldn't ring the electrician, you couldn't ring a mechanic. So you had to sit down and work it out. And I had this boss that I used to work for on a cattle station. He was an old ringer, and he said to me, there's nothing you can't do if you don't sit down and think about it. And if you think about it, you can do it, right? And I guess that's about reflection, okay? And so if you reflect on it, think about it, then you pull it apart and remember where everything is, and then put it all back together. And that's the only way to fix something, is sometimes you've got to pull it all apart and
Yeah.
then put it all back together. And I guess growing up on a remote cattle station, it gives you that ability, because if you don't fix it, nobody else will. So you either need it or you don't. If you don't need it, you throw it out. If you need it, you fix it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so life is about the same things. If you don't need it, get rid of it. If you need it, then fix it. Yeah.
It seems so simple when you say it. And
Yeah.
then I try to reflect in my life and I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Um, I think you just said something about reflection, but
Yes.
you were like in a remote place, you know, and today the generation, like my generation and the younger generation, or, you know, everyone who is living in a fast life, I would say, with all the technologies and things, I feel like we don't take the time to reflect much. And and I'm wondering what are your thoughts on that, on us, on what you can see now with the new generation and technologies and everything?
So, and what we need to do is get out of our comfort zone, no matter where we are in life. Whether we live in the city, whether we live in the bush, or we sit in four walls. And we're slowly getting into well, we fit in this nuclear life, and everybody is in isolation. So we don't know what's going on over here, and we don't know what's going on over there, because we all feel safe in our four walls. But what you got to do is bust those walls down and get outside and meet people. Because I always say, a stranger is a friend you haven't met yet. And but not all strangers are good. We all know that. But unless you ask them, then you won't know whether they're good or not, right? So um, yeah, so we need to get out from our four walls, get outside and connect, and especially with nature and community. And for me, I grew up in an environment of volunteering, so everything in my community was done by volunteering. The local swimming pool was done by volunteering. It was built by fundraising and stuff like that. And we've got to remember that's the best part of life, is giving back to your community. And when you do that, then what happens when you have children? The whole community. It takes a community to raise a child, not
Mhm.
just parents. So when you connect with your community, it makes it so more valuable for you and your family. So get outside, get away from those four walls. Technology is great, and it's great that we can talk. We're 4,000 kilometers apart, and you're 10,000 kilometers from your parents in Sydney, and that's great technology. But also get outside, enjoy, and connect with nature is probably one of the most important things you can do. Yeah, because that when you connect and you go out and you connect, it brings everything back into perspective, and the reason why you're alive, and the reason why you enjoy living life, is to get out and connect with nature. And that's what I like to do. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Connecting with nature and with others, as you're
Yeah.
saying, connecting with communities and people around you. And I reflect on that a lot because, by living far away from my home country and from my comfort zone, I've learned to really connect with other people and just learn about different, culture, countries, religion, ethnicity, everything. And you just open a bit more to the world, and
Yeah.
suddenly you realize that no, you're not alone in your own bubble, right? There is
Yeah.
so much more to see and so much more to live in
Yeah.
this life and to discover. I think technology is isolating us because it's much more easier to connect kind of with people throughout a screen.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like you do whatever you want.
Yeah.
But then when you connect in real life, that's where you share the energy. And I know we talked a lot about energy together on the remote island.
Yeah.
And I would love to touch base on that because I'm all for energy. I think we all vibrate on different energies. And sometimes, you talk to someone and you feel there is a kind of a same vibration or on energy, and there is kind of a synergy or something happening. Can you just tell us a bit more about your thought on energy?
Sure. And there's a simple experiment you can do to connect and find that energy. So if you ever walked on grass after it's rained on barefoot, or while it is raining, and you can feel that energy coming up from the ground and connecting with you, just try it. Take off your shoes and walk out on wet grass after it's rained, or while it's raining, and you feel that energy that you get from the ground.
Mhm.
Um, and when you start feeling that energy, then you see things in energy form, and you can when you start connecting with that natural environment and that energy, so you see things that you normally wouldn't see because you're too rushed or you're not in that mindset. And when you look at certain trees and in certain times, you see that they have, and it's like a shimmer, and it's the energy that they're giving off. But you got to connect with that. You can't just go out there and do it. You have to learn how to connect with that energy. And like I said, the best way to do it is take off your shoes, walk out there and touch base. And I guess when it rains, it creates a connection with that energy, because wet inspires electricity, I suppose. And that's the easiest way to make it, is to say it, is to connect while it's wet, and you'll feel that energy. Especially up here in the north, we get
Mm.
such amazing thunderstorms that it's like electricity in the air, and you feel the energy. And when you walk on the grass, when it's just after it's rained, or just before or during, you feel that energy. Of course, if there's too much energy, there's probably a lightning strike away. So don't, if your hair starts
So you
rising
have
up, you
to
move. But
run away.
yes, yeah, but yeah, you have to, yeah. So just try it. Walk out on the grass there, and while it's wet, and just connect, and
Well,
just
Bill, it's raining outside in Sydney here. So I think after this podcast, I might just go barefoot in the city, find
yeah.
a patch of grass and do this.
Yeah, and grass, because it's that plant, earth, and water connection. You know what I mean?
Mm.
So yeah, that's that. And that natural energy. And then when you start understanding that energy, then you find energy in people, right? And then you're naturally drawn and connected together when you find that energy. Sometimes you think, oh wow, I really like that connection,
Mm.
with that person. When you start talking, or such. And so, yeah, energy is really important. It's been
Where do you,
important in my life.
yeah, I would love to know a bit more about energy in your life. Did you have any other, stories to share around energy
So,
and connecting?
so I was a skeptic around this energy in the past, Mel, and I had a really bad horse accident. And I had a head injury.
Wow.
And so, for probably about 2 years, I really didn't know if I was Arthur or Martha, as an expression. So I was very confused. My emotions, my thoughts,
Mm.
all those sort of things. I had a severe head pain all the time. And then for some reason, I found this big amethyst crystal, and for some reason, I picked it up and put it on my head.
Mm.
And all of a sudden, my headache and pain went away, and I took it off.
Oh, wow.
And I thought, wow. And I put it back on, and it made the pain go away. And I thought, wow, what's going on here? Is it psychological? What's going on? And that's how I got through that. Is I used this amazing crystal that was emitting this energy that connected with mine to make my head pain go away. So it was like a constant headache, right? Because of the it was like your brain hitting the front of your skull and then bouncing back and then hitting the back of your skull. That's the sort of head injury I had.
Wow.
And I had a constant headache for probably, about 2 years until I found this amazing big amethyst crystal and I stuck it on my head and it just made, so every night I would just lay there and it would just make a pain in my head and I would just fall asleep. It was just amazing. So I decided to do some research and I thought, this is really strange. Why is this crystal doing this to me? And so and crystals actually emit an energy, and that's why in the old days they used to put crystal in watches because it used to help the watch keep time and all that sort of stuff because of the energy it used to
Mm-hmm.
emit. And if you get a electrician's electrical tester and you put it on these crystal, it emits an energy. It registers on these things, so it it emits an energy in a frequency that correlates with you, and sometimes you got to find the right one, I suppose. But yeah, and that's how I understood that there's more to life than everything else. There is things that emit energy, and you can connect and do that. Yeah, so
What
yeah,
a
that's
crazy
my
story.
yeah, and it's amazing. And before that, I was very skeptical about any of this sort of stuff, and it wasn't until and I think I was about 35 when that happened.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a revelation for me, and I wanted to know more. So I've got an amazing crystal collection so because I know that they emit this energy. So yeah,
No more
uh,
headache.
no more headache, no.
Okay.
And I still have that amethyst crystal.
Yeah.
So yeah,
That's amazing. Such an amazing story. I love it, Bill, because I can hear a lot of people who are still skeptical about, when we talk about energies or the universe or this kind of thing and all this kind of awakening that is happening. We talk about it more and more and more. And I think it comes back to the individual. If you believe in it and you find that it's serving you for some purpose, then
yeah,
that's great. If not, that's
exactly.
also fine.
Exactly. And
Yeah,
if not, that's okay, right? Your time is not right and you're not ready to connect with that energy. Uh,
exactly.
and
Where
the
do you,
time will come.
yeah, the time will come,
Yeah.
whether if
Uh,
it's with a horse accident or
oh,
something else. But
yeah, yeah. Because I was sick of taking Panadol and all that all the time, and this was just like a natural remedy,
yeah.
and it was just amazing. Like it blew my mind literally that
Mm.
this rock was helping to ease my pain. Yeah.
Where do you think that energy comes from?
Um, I don't know, however you want to call it, the great architect of the universe. It's just this earth. It's just this magnificent energy force that comes out of our earth, I guess, and our environment, our universe. Um, because at the end of the day, we're all atoms, right? We're all a bundle of energy in that we're made up all atoms and all the rest of it, and we all vibrate and we all have a frequency. And I also did a little bit more around frequency, exploration around frequency. And if you have a look at the Aboriginal didgeridoo, right, it emits a frequency, and that frequency correlates with so many things in the universe. And there's certain things, and that's why music's so important to humans, right? Because there's a frequency in there. And once you start exploring that, and it's all about frequency and energy, and they admit this frequency and energy, and some vibrations create patterns. So like a didgeridoo, if you put it into I forget what it's called, but it's you put you attach a like a sonograph to it, and you
Mhm.
play a didgeridoo, and it creates a pattern. And like it's these amazing patterns that it creates from the vibration of the frequency of that sound. So yeah, we're all made up of vibrations and frequencies. So
Yeah.
And if you start to learn to connect with that, and understand it and accept it, then it comes more into your life.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Again, it's about taking the time to reflect, listen,
yeah,
observe,
yeah.
and check
And
it.
then you start to feel things, like so you can touch something and you can feel an energy in there. Yeah, yeah. But one of my favorite sayings, Mel, is to make the right thing, whatever you do, make the right thing easy and the wrong thing difficult. Yeah, and that's a
The
that's a
right
motto.
thing, so make the right thing easy and the wrong thing difficult.
Yeah. So and if you adopt that, you make the right things in your life easy and the wrong things difficult, right? So if you don't like doing that, make it difficult to do that. If you like doing that, make it easy to do that. Make the right thing easy and the wrong thing difficult.
Oh, wow. I love that.
Yeah. So and I always, applied that to raising my children. I always made the right thing easy and the wrong thing difficult for them. So I made it really easy for them to play lots of sports and do all the things that are positive and constructive. And I made it so that they were too tired to do the wrong things. Yeah, make the right thing easy and the wrong thing. And I'd travel, 600 or 700 kilometers round trip to get them to a sporting event because that's what you do, right? You make the right thing easy for them to play their
Mm.
preferred sports, and then when you do that, they're too tired to do anything wrong. So
That's
yeah,
amazing.
yeah,
And what do you say to them if suddenly they want to start to do something wrong? Because I'm just thinking about all the young people who are listening here and who are having maybe, I don't know, addictions, or impulsions or hard stuff. What advice do you give?
I refer back to that thing of making the right thing easy and the wrong thing difficult. Make the right thing, make it easy to do what's good for you, and make it hard to do what's not right for you. Yeah. So make the right thing easy, wrong thing difficult. And you can apply that in so many different ways if you reflect on that, right? So if you reflect on it and say, okay, this is what I'm doing, and I like doing that, but it's not good for me. But if I don't stop doing, these are the consequences. But if I do this, this is good for me, right? And so then you weigh it up, and sometimes it takes you a while, but you just gotta keep trying. Yeah, keep trying to make the right thing easy. Yeah.
I'm curious to know if because you've been reflecting on your life since quite a long time now, and I don't know if you heard about this, but there is this kind of protocol that people talk more and more about, and I do it myself, which is journaling.
Yeah.
So it's about taking, a journal and maybe write something in it every morning for 15 minutes about how you feel, what you're grateful for, what do you see for your future, what is your vision, etc., etc. For me personally, it helps a lot, and I reflect a lot on my life thanks to it. And it's like a time dedicated to that every morning.
Journaling is probably one of the most important things you can do in your life, Mel. And like you said, it helps you to reflect, right? So not only that, journaling helps you to visualize, and when you visualize, you can make it happen. If you don't visualize it, then it's really hard to make happen. So that's the other thing about making the right thing easy and the wrong thing difficult. If you start visualizing the right thing, then you can make it happen. If you don't visualize it, then it's so hard to accept it into your life because you haven't visualized it, because it's so easy to go back to doing the wrong thing. But journaling is probably one of the most important things you can do. And not only that, when sometimes you can flick back and think, oh, right, back then I thought about this, and look at me now, like you can see the change. Like I've accepted that from then, this was my reflection then, and this is my reflection now. So journaling is probably one of the most amazing things you can do. Um, and gratitude is probably when you start to reflect, and when you journal, you start to learn gratitude.
Mm-hmm.
And gratitude is probably one of the most amazing things you can do for yourself in your life, is to accept gratitude and to give gratitude. When you wake up in the morning and take a deep breath and say, it's great to be alive. Yeah, first thing you can say to yourself, I feel great, I feel good, I feel amazing. And just by saying that can set your day up, and set you up for so many successes. It's not funny.
Yeah, I love that, Bill. I am like drinking all the things that you're saying right now. I love it. Do you have any specific activity or something specific you do for yourself to reflect even more?
Um, well, like I like to sit somewhere quiet and just to reflect. And what I do, I've got this amazing life coach that I go and visit once a month. And we all go out there and we always have a body massage and we look after our body and it feels great, right? But people forget to massage their brain, and it's probably the most important thing you can do. So, she's a psychologist, she's a life coach, and she's a hypnotist, right? So I go to her and I say, can you please give me a coaching session and a hypnotic session around this? And you come out of there and you feel so good because it's like this a massive brain massage. But you can do it yourself. Self hypnosis sessions and self coaching is really good. Just make up a recording and play it to yourself. Sit somewhere quiet, and it's like this massive brain massage that you can do for yourself. We all forget to do that, and this helps you to let go of all that stuff that you don't need as well. And that's what you can do. You can build up this relationship with yourself, or with a life coach, or with something like that, to make sure that you get rid of all this negative stuff out of your life. You don't need it, right? So it only affects the past you. It should never affect the present you. And you've got to live for here and now, because you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. So here's today and tomorrow. You plan for tomorrow and you plan for the future, but you got to live now.
Exactly. I never heard about what you're saying about the hypnosis.
Yeah, yeah.
How do you do that?
So if you know a little bit about hypnosis, so you start off with saying, close your eyes. I want you to relax, and you build up until you get into a state of total relaxation. Visualize somewhere where you love to be, whether it's the beach or by a waterfall, and you can hear the waterfall or the beach, and you get into this really, really relaxed state where your mind is ready to receive, positive influence. And then you say all these things you want to say to make yourself, and that's the brain massage. So you can say, look, you know, and then once you do it, and then you count yourself back out of it to come back and be awake and energized. So yeah, it's like self hypnosis. Yeah, and it takes a little bit of practice, but it's amazing once you do it right. And when you do it really good, you go into a REM. And you know what REM is like? It's a sleep where your mind is conscious, but you're
Yeah.
asleep.
Kind
And
of a trance
yeah,
state, is it?
yeah. And you do that, and yeah, it's like this a massive brain massage, and you feel good, energized, and you've inputted all this amazing positive energy into your mind.
That's a very good idea of a brain massage. And it also
Yeah.
show you the power of the mind, right? We
Yep.
have such a big power.
The power of the mind is probably the most important thing that for you to accept and to do. So yeah, if you can accept that and understand that, then yeah, it makes life so easy.
Definitely. I like the fact that you're saying you can accept it, because I think a lot of people just think that it is what it is, and it's just
Yeah.
like that, and they let other things control them instead of trying to take the power over everything, power over the mind, and decide, okay, I want to do this and I
Yeah.
don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
It's hard. I'm not saying it's easy.
It's hard, but you can do it, right?
You can do it.
And that old saying, mind over matter, right? So, and that's there for a reason. So yeah,
Exactly. And it comes back to being aware, and to be aware, you have to reflect first, to be
exactly.
conscious about the things that are not serving you.
So Mel, if people are needing drugs and alcohol and in their life to make their life good, right? That means to say that that you're not living in the now, you're not living in you, you're living in a different reality, right? So
Exactly.
and we all go through it. I'm not going to say I've never done it. I've been there, I've done that, and you experiment and you try new stuff and it's fun, but that's what it is. You move out of that and you get into real life. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And also I think that sometimes it's also to numb some emotions or to escape from the reality you don't want to live in. And
that's right.
And then that's where you have to realize that you can always live your own reality and the one that you really want to live.
Yeah.
No one is telling you to stay where you are. Like there are always choices you can make and decisions you can take, even if it's hard ones. But it's up to you. Instead of numbing yourself with alcohol or whatever, again, it is very hard. I'm not saying it's easy, but you have the right to choose and you have the power to change.
Yeah, I agree. And Mel, the other thing that you learn in life, and well, I've learned in life, there are many truths in life. There's not one single source of truth.
Mm-hmm.
And when you learn that and you understand that, that makes it easier to understand how the world works. And we always say, "Oh, I want the truth, right?" Or "This is the truth." But everybody has their own truth. So your truth is your truth, mine is mine. So there's two truths already. And that's why that's why we have so much around the world. That's why we have so much war and all that sort of stuff, because people have their own truths. And so for them, this is the right thing. And for them they're fighting, they each have their own truth, and they're trying to find out this single source of truth, rather than accepting that there are many truths, and accept that their truth is theirs and their truth is theirs, right? So
exactly. We can only we all have a unique perception of the world, and people forget that. And what you're saying around the wars exactly are happening right now, or any fight that you can have with someone, right?
Yeah.
I think it touches the ego, and people forget.
It's all about ego.
Yeah, it's all about ego, and your ego is based on your life, on your past experiences, on your beliefs, on your education, on many, many, many things. And people forget to sometimes pause and step back to understand the other person's perception and other person's feeling.
Yeah.
And so they just think that they are right and that's it. It doesn't matter. Nothing else matter, right? And that's why we are always in a constant fighting mode everywhere. I realized that a couple of years ago, because I had a friend who always wanted to be right for everything.
Yeah.
And I would be, come back home and be upset and be like, I don't understand why she doesn't want to open up, like to just open her mind a bit more and be okay with what I'm trying to say. And then over time, by reading books and doing a lot of self-development and self-discovery, I understood that it was not about me.
No.
It was really about her ego talking and being too maybe scared to let go of some identity or beliefs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you get out of your environment and you start to get out and connect with people, your blinkers open up, and like this, you have a shop front view of life. You only see what comes in through the front door.
Mm-hmm.
And when you open up and get out and connect, your vision becomes peripheral, and you get to see more in life than just that blinkered shop front view. So get out, enjoy life, get out and visit, go traveling, see the world. It's an amazing place, because what works there might not work here, but that it works there, and it's okay, right? And some of those principles and practices might work here and make life easy, but you don't have to have all of them, but you have the knowledge that you've seen it. Yeah,
exactly. And sometimes it's not that your life is not going well, it's just that you're not at the right place or surrounded by the right people.
That's right.
And this podcast channel helped me a lot, Bill, to exactly as you're saying, open my blinkers, right?
Yeah.
And see better and understand this life a bit more, and understand also that there are a lot of things that I don't know and that maybe I will never know. But the more I connect with other people and try to understand them and open my mind to them and to their beliefs, the more I can understand that there is maybe another reality that can exist for me.
Yeah.
And I think that's very important for people to understand that the more they open to the world, the more the world will have to give them. But they cannot see that as long as they're staying in their own bubble and their own comfort zone. And going out there and connect is not always comfortable. Some people will tell you they are very, they are introvert. They don't like it. They are shy, etc. It's not always comfortable. But the more you do it, the more you will see all the benefits that it can bring you, and the more joy it can bring into your life as well.
Get out there and get into other people's bubbles.
Yeah. Yeah, but you get into other people's bubbles and then you understand a bit
That's
more
right.
yourself.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. And I met a really good friend that way that, she never had anybody. I just walked up one day and I said, "Wow, I really like your earrings." And from that point, I was inside her bubble, right? And she's like, like this. And then we became really good friends
So
from that
funny.
point on. Yeah,
Yeah.
just by coming up and say, "Yeah, I really like your earrings." And I got really close and had a look at her earrings. And it was pushed her comfort zone, and I just remember that because she said, "Oh, you're really inside my bubble," and I,
Mm.
I felt really uncomfortable, but I'm thankful that you did. I'm not saying you should go up to everybody and look closely at the earrings, but yeah, as an example, yeah. So
Yeah, I
yeah,
love that. What
getting
advice would
inside
you,
bubble
the what?
of getting inside other people's bubbles,
We will all
because
get inside other people's bubbles.
yeah.
What advice would you give to people who are wasting their time and energy on things that don't really matter?
Stop. Life's too short, So, like I said, you live every day. Live it. Go out, meet people, travel. Um, even if your first travel is a train ticket somewhere or a drive or whatever, and then you have a new experience and you save up for that next bit of travel and the next experience. Go and volunteer, get out there in the community and volunteer in organizations to help the most vulnerable people, and that just gives you a sense of purpose. Yeah, do something worthwhile, do something meaningful that for you, or that's going to help somebody else. Don't be afraid to help people. Helping people is just an amazing thing you can do.
It is because by helping others, you also get some rewards for
You
yourself.
do, you do. You have a sense of achievement. You have a sense of self achievement. All those things that you're helping somebody, and
Mhm.
there are a lot of people that need your help. There are a lot of vulnerable people out there, and even a kind word is helping. So just a kind word to some people. And I'm not saying you have to give them your last, $10 or anything like that, but your time and your words can help a lot of people.
Yeah, I think we underestimate that the words can be the most beautiful gift you can give to someone.
Yeah,
And lighting up a face is just, smiling to someone and lighting up a face can be the best gift you can give to the world. So,
exactly.
Bill, I want to touch base on a big topic, which is happiness. And I would
Yes.
love to hear your thought about what does it mean to you, happiness, and how do we find genuine happiness?
So happiness starts with you, right? Nobody owns your happiness but you. And it all starts with you. You have that choice whether you want to be happy or not. And nobody else is responsible for your happiness. And if they are, then you are doing it wrong. It has to start with you. You make yourself happy. You do things that make you happy. You do things that allow you to be happy, and you give yourself permission to be happy. Nobody has that authority or that agency or anything over you except you. And if you remember that, then you start to realize that you can do things that make you happy, not other people, and you don't have to make other people happy to make yourself happy. But it can be joined together. But the main thing is that you are architect and the owner of your happiness.
You are the architect of your own happiness. I'll keep that one in mind.
Yeah.
And definitely. Um, what um do you think you always had this mindset around happiness? Like, or did you have a certain event happening in your life who made you change your mind?
So a near-death experience certainly helped me define that because it really put stuff into perspective for me. And we spoke about that horse accident, and this is my near-death experience that I'll share. So, I hit a tree, flat gallop on a horse. My body was unconscious. My I whatever happens in life and whatever your spirituality is. I could see my body on the ground, but I was in the air looking down, and I could see the people dragging my body over to a water tank. Um, and so I could see all this, and I just remembered that I didn't want to look up because I knew if I looked up, I would go. So I kept, that was and I kept thinking about my family, my kids, my wife, and I knew that I had to get back for them because, they needed me. And then, when I come to, it was like this massive input of something into my chest. Um, and I don't know whether that's like my spirit re-entering my body. And they say it's scientifically proven that it's all in your mind, and I don't care because I was like a helicopter
Uh-huh.
looking down. I could see my body. Now, how can I do that if I'm unconscious on the ground, right? And I could see the people dragging my body over the trough and splashing water on me and all that sort of stuff. So that's probably a near-death experience that really brought life into perspective for me.
I have
And
goosebumps. Oh my
yeah,
God,
yep.
that's crazy, Bill.
So I feel like I'm lucky because that I could have not been here, and if I wasted that opportunity, then I didn't deserve it. So I made sure I didn't. So I was about, like I said, about 35. This was around when I still felt like I was made of steel and I wasn't afraid of man or beast. But then I realized that I was just human, yeah, and I needed to make my life the best it could be and be the best person I could be. So, but you don't need that in your life. You can already do that. You don't need that near death experience to realize that, because you might not get that opportunity that I did, that I got. I didn't go. I didn't die. So yeah, that's probably the defining point in my life that that made me realize that, and before that, like I said, I wasn't afraid of man or beast. I was riding bulls and horses, and the meaner it was, the better it was, because I had an ego and all the rest of it, and I lost all of that
Mm.
pretty well. Uh, After that, I lost all of that when I realized and reflected on how fortunate and lucky I was to be here, to be given another chance.
That's so beautiful, Bill. And wow, I love it. I'm just, yeah. Um,
But prior to that, I was very masculine. That helped me to identify my femininity and join them together with my masculinity. So there was a balance, if you know what I mean.
can you
Because
define a bit feminine energy and masculine energy for people who don't understand that?
very extreme masculine energy can be really ego based, same as very extreme feminine energy can be ego based. But when you bring them back and you join and you have a balance of the both, it creates an energy and an outlook that makes you understanding and caring and strong and masculine, all those things in the one. So that for me is how I defined it. Yeah.
So do you think we should have a balance of both
we
to
should
be
have a
well
balance
balanced?
we should have a balance of both,
Mm.
so um and there is, it's like a yin and a yang, right? I guess that's the energy, and there's male and female,
Mm.
and it's having a balance of both of that.
Yeah.
And they talk about toxic masculinity, but there's also toxic femininity, right? And so the extreme of the masculinity and the extreme of the femininity, but it's more prevalent in masculine than feminine, right? But you do have both, because that's what life is. It's about both. You have
Mm.
good and you have bad, and you have bad and you have good, right? So
Exactly.
yeah, you need both in your life, and when you understand that, and you can understand your masculinity and combine it with your femininity, then you understand it,
You understand it. And
because
I just want
that
to,
helps you be strong, that helps you be feminine, helps you be all those sort of things. Yeah.
yeah. And I just want to also remind people that feminine energy it doesn't matter what gender you have. Like what is your gender?
No,
It's not applying to a gender.
it's not
It,
applying to a gender. No, not at all.
Yeah, you can be a woman and be very, very masculine, which
Yep.
means like, for example, it would be defined by a woman who is extremely independent,
Yep.
very strong, very,
All of
you know,
that.
all of that, all the extreme, want to do everything by herself, want to
Yep.
be right, want to be this, etc., etc.
Yep.
And that's where sometimes you're like, you should maybe come back to your feminine energy a bit, to slow
Yep.
down, to
Yep.
reflect, to calm down, to
Yep.
accept your feminine, your sensuality, and all these kind of things as well.
Yep.
And yeah, rebalanced
Yeah.
everything
Yeah.
together.
And for me, if you can balance those two, then you become a better and a caring person. Yeah. So yeah.
I agree with you on
And a
that.
stronger person within yourself, because then you can accept change, you can accept new things, you can accept all those things that you wouldn't accept before.
Do you teach these kind of things to your grandkids?
Yeah, I've taught it to my kids. Like my kids are the most amazing and caring people. Yeah, I do.
I can imagine.
And that's why I wanted to have a relationship with my grandchildren. That's why I moved up here to Darwin, to be here with my grandchildren, so I can have a relationship with them and share my knowledge and wisdom with them. Yeah.
Bill, I enjoyed a lot this conversation with you, and we will wrap up shortly. What is the last advice you would like to give to people who are trying to live their life to the fullest, but are having some, barriers or things not serving them, that are not helping them to live their best life?
Gosh, there's so many things that you could say, but I'll bring it back to one simple thing that I told you earlier, Mel, and that's make the right thing easy and the wrong thing difficult, right? Um, and you could remind yourself, you can ask yourself, you can tell yourself, then you can make yourself, right? And it's always better to ask yourself than tell yourself and then make yourself, right? So ask, tell, and then make. And if you can do that, and sometimes you've got to get to make yourself do it.
Mm.
But when you get to that point where you say, I want to do this, you're asking yourself to do this, or I will do that. That's telling yourself, and I've got to do that. You're making yourself, right? So make the right thing easy, the wrong thing difficult, and ask, tell, and make.
And I will add to that, maybe to continue to connect with others and ask for help sometimes,
Always,
asking,
always ask for help. Yeah, reach
yeah,
out.
don't be
And
afraid to reach out.
I mean, you and I were sitting together in a plane, and we just started talking, right? And just that conversation, we were able to just connect, even though it was in a work environment. And we had some other colleagues there that I was able to connect with, and they connected with me, and it was a great experience just by connecting, right?
Exactly. And I learned so much from our conversation. And here we are doing a podcast now to share it to the world as well. It's just crazy. I think people don't really always realize the opportunities that can come up with one connection, with
Yeah,
one smile, with just helping someone at the supermarket. So many things can happen. And personally, my life has been driven like that.
yeah,
I've been building such a huge network with people so different from each other's, and coming from all the different parts of the world. And it's helping a lot. It's helping me, it's helping them. I connect people together after, and it's just beautiful. And we
agree.
forgot
Well,
we forgot that.
we do forget that, and because we start de-investing in ourselves, right? But you always got to invest in yourself, and you
Yeah,
start with yourself, and then when you feel good, then you help others, and then you connect with others, and share that. Yeah.
exactly. I loved it. Thank you so much, Bill. Is there anything else you would like to share before we close this podcast?
No, Mel, but I really enjoyed catching up with you, and yeah, anytime I'm happy to share anything that I've got on my mind. So yeah,
Me too, Bill. I know that we will stay connected, definitely.
please.
And thank you again for all your insights. And you're such a big inspiration. And I hope you will keep inspiring other people around you. I'm sure you will. But yeah, thank you again.
Thanks, Mel. And you got to send me a link to your
I will.
podcast, please.
Definitely. I will
All
send
right.
it to you. And
Yep.
for all the people who are listening, please do share this episode with people who might need it or who will enjoy it. And if you enjoyed it yourself, please like it, share it, comment it, engage with the podcast. And you can always engage with me on Instagram if you need to. Thank you again, Bill.
Take care, Mel. Take
Take
care,
care.
everybody.